You know what's fascinating? While 115 million people are screaming at their television screens this Sunday, with veins bulging and heart rates spiking over a game of inches, and there is an entire shadow population watching them with a sense of profound, quiet bewilderment. I'm not talking about the contrarians who pretend not to care just to feel intellectually superior, or the people who only watch for the commercials. I'm talking about the folks who experience the Super Bowl with the same level of emotional neutrality you might feel while watching professional grass growing or competitive butter sculpting. If you are one of those people, you've likely spent years feeling like you missed a crucial human software update, and wondering why you're the only one in the room not intoxicated by the tribal roar. But the truth is far more clinical. Your brain hasn't missed an update. It might actually be running a more efficient, less reactive operating system that refuses to be hijacked by manufactured stakes. Today, we are going to dissect the neurobiology of the Super Bowl glitch, why some nervous systems are physically incapable of caring about the big game. We are going to break down the phenomenon of basking in reflected glory, the psychological divide of the locus of control, and why your apathy is actually a sophisticated defense against sensory and emotional overload. The first thing we need to strip away is the myth that caring about sports is a default human setting that everyone is born with. The human brain is not pre-programmed to lose its mind over a touchdown. It is, however, programmed to seek out tribal identity and social validation. When people get obsessed with the Super Bowl, they are engaging in a process called basking in reflected glory, or burging. This is a psychological shortcut where your brain gives you a massive dopamine hit when your team wins, despite the fact that you contributed absolutely zero effort to the outcome. For the obsessed fan, the win feels like a personal victory, a biological reward for simply existing in the right zip code or wearing the right colored jersey. But for you, that particular neural trigger simply doesn't land. Your brain looks at the screen and sees 30 men you've never met fighting over an oblong ball, and it refuses to grant you the unearned dopamine. Research from the Journal of Consumer Psychology suggests that this disconnect often comes down to optimal stimulation levels. Every human has a specific frequency at which they function best. Some brains crave high-intensity, emotionally charged, high-stakes environments to feel alive. Others have a nervous system that finds that exact same intensity genuinely aversive, or what clinicians call sensory emotional flooding. So when you tell people you don't care about the Super Bowl, you aren't being edgy. You are likely someone whose nervous system prefers a lower intensity baseline to maintain homeostasis. The chaos, the constant momentum swings, and the loud, aggressive emotional stakes of a 3-hour game feel like an endurance test rather than entertainment. And here's where it gets psychologically dense. The Super Bowl is the ultimate in-group versus out-group simulation. Humans survived as a species because we formed tight-knit tribes that competed with other tribes for resources. And sports are the modern bloodless proxy for that ancient warfare. When people scream at the TV, they are tapping into a primal limbic system response that predates modern civilization by millions of years. But not everyone experiences this tribal pull with the same intensity, especially those with a high degree of private self-consciousness. You might get your sense of community from a book club, a niche forum about mechanical keyboards, or a local gardening group. Spaces that don't require you to adopt a warrior mentality. You haven't rejected community, you've just found it in spaces that don't require you to memorize quarterback statistics or participate in a manufactured rivalry. Another major psychological divider here is what we call the locus of control. People with an external locus of control are often very comfortable investing huge amounts of emotional energy into things they cannot influence, like the outcome of a football game. They enjoy the ride of being a spectator, finding the lack of control to be part of the thrill. However, many people who are immune to sports hype tend to have a strong internal locus of control. Your brain finds it fundamentally unsatisfying or even frustrating to care deeply about something where your own effort creates zero direct outcome. You would rather spend that same emotional energy on a project, a hobby, or a relationship where your input actually changes the reality of the situation. To you, wearing lucky socks to influence a field goal isn't just a fun ritual. It feels like a logical glitch, way that you aren't interested in participating in. Then we have to address the elephant in the room: sensory and information overload. Modern life is already a 24/7 sensory assault of notifications, deadlines, political fires, and economic stress that keeps our cortisol levels permanently elevated. For many, the Super Bowl is just one more attention hijacker trying to scream its way into your remaining mental bandwidth. If you are among the 20% of the population classified as highly sensitive, a Super Bowl party isn't a celebration, it's a 3-hour sensory crime scene. The combination of flickering high-def screens, loud commercials, overlapping conversations, and the smell of grease and beer leaves you wiped out for days. What others call the big game, your nervous system calls a system overload recovery event. There is also the factor of uncertainty tolerance, which varies dramatically from person to person. Sports are built on the foundation of unpredictability, and for some, that suspense is the primary source of the dopamine reward. But for brains with a lower tolerance for ambiguity, that same unpredictability registers as low-grade stress rather than excitement. Sitting through 3 hours of manufactured tension for a payoff that doesn't actually affect your real-world survival starts to feel like voluntary anxiety. It is the same reason some people love horror movies while others find them pointless. It depends on how your amygdala processes simulated danger. If your brain is wired to prioritize real-world stakes, the Super Bowl circus feels fake. A massive cultural production designed to distract you from your own life. The commercials, the halftime show, the endless analysis of a 3-second play. It all begins to feel like a performance where you're the only one who didn't get the script. And that disconnect can be strangely lonely, because when you reject the Super Bowl, people often react as if you've rejected them. This defensiveness from others tells you everything you need to know about how sports function as an identity marker in our culture. When you don't care, you are accidentally signaling that you don't belong to the mainstream tribe, which triggers an ancient anxiety in those who do. But we have to be realists. Sometimes there is no deep neurological explanation, and it's just a matter of sensory preference. Just as some people can't stand the taste of cilantro or the sound of techno music, and some people just find the mechanics of football fundamentally boring. We have become so obsessed with pathologizing every difference that we forget that human beings simply have different tastes. The expectation that every citizen should care about one specific sport is actually far weirder than the act of not caring. If you're the person who would rather be reading, coding, or sleeping while the rest of the world is screaming at the TV, you are actually practicing a high form of cognitive autonomy. You are refusing to let the cultural zeitgeist tell you what is worth your limited emotional currency. You are opting out of a manufactured ritual in favor of a reality that actually means something to you. Whether it's because of your optimal stimulation level, your locus of control, or your sensory sensitivity, your apathy is a valid biological response. You aren't missing the party, you're just attending a different one that happens inside your own mind. And the guest list is much more exclusive. The Super Bowl will end, the dopamine will fade, and the basking in reflected glory will wear off by Monday morning. But your ability to protect your peace and your attention from the noise of the masses is a skill that will serve you every single day of the year. If this deep dive into the psychology of the sports immune brain resonated with you, understand that your boredom is actually a sign of a very specific kind of mental independence. Join us at The Last Realists, where we strip away the societal hype and get down to the clinical neurobiological truth. Subscribe and hit the bell, because while the world is busy cheering for a team that doesn't know they exist, we're here to help you understand the only person that matters: you. Click the next video to understand why your need for solitude is actually a sophisticated security protocol for your brain. We'll see you in the next exploration.